the reason why I got into this career, this industry, is because masaya siya.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get
So
to meet
if-
a lot of people,
Yeah,
pare.
if you're not doing anything that makes you happy anymore, I mean, sure, the money is okay.
Pero how did you feel? Like, na parang hindi supportive parents mo? You feel like,
it fired me up, man.
okay,
You
okay.
know, I'm like the type of person kasi who doesn't like to be proven wrong.
Have you ever failed?
I failed more than I succeeded.
Okay, okay.
Collaboration is like the number one thing that you need in order for you to get your job done, because these projects are bigger than yourself.
Hello, we're here for another episode of Let's Go Podcast. Today, our guest is a fellow brand ambassador of Canon Philippines. We all know him as a photographer, and recently he's delving into producing films. His name is Wesley Villarica. Wesley, thank you so much for being here. Alam ko,
Hey.
super busy ka pare.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor, and
Yes.
it's actually my first time to ever guest in a podcast.
No way.
So this is great.
Talaga ba?
It's a new experience.
Okay, well, ito rin, itong podcast na to is something that we are trying to do with three of my other friends. So, yun din, first time ko rin, or bago rin ako sa ganitong platform. So, I'm still trying to learn how to navigate around it. Pero, I'm happy na you're here, pare.
Thank you. Thank you.
Men, ano ba? Ano bang ginagawa mo no? Nakikita ko recently sa stories mo, you've been doing a lot of studio works.
Yeah. So, in the studio kasi we do several types of jobs. So, we have like the photography and like the filmmaking side, and also yung mga advertising, the brand filmmaking.
Yep.
So, ngayon, we have several projects in the pipeline in the studio. So, we're about to release a film sometime within this year that I shot last year, which is a Korean co-production
Okay.
called The Guardian.
Okay.
So, starring yun si Yasi Pressman, si Eric Ejercito, and si Wilbert Ross for
Right.
the locals.
Right.
And for the international cast, that's Namu Yun. He's like the lead singer of Infinite. They're a boy band from like around like 10 years ago.
Right.
Prior to BTS, they were like the ones.
Talaga. Sila yung BTS before. Yeah, yep.
And then I'm also si Park Eun-hye. She's the one of the stars of Alchemy of Souls.
Okay.
And si Han Jae-sok, who is who was the lead of All About Eve when the first Hallyu wave happened in Korea. And
Okay.
then it was like one of the first series that
Okay.
really made it big internationally. So he was like the star of that.
Ang daming Korean names na alam sila lahat. So,
Yeah.
you've been, wait lang, you're working with a Korean cast, obviously. Are you working with Korean production team also?
Yes. So
And you shot everything in Korea?
no, we shot everything here in the Philippines.
Interesting, okay.
So what we did was to line produce pretty much everything here. We also, it's a complete 50-50 collaboration on
Right.
the project. So we also had input on like the script. We did like several script rewrites. We were part of the creatives doing that. The director and the DOP were from Korea, which
Okay.
is great because like at least we got to see
How
the
they
Koreans
work.
do it.
Yes. And then they have this certain look eh.
They do.
Every time you see a Korean film or a Korean series, kahit saan nila shoot yan, mukhang Korean drama eh. Mukhang Korean look talaga eh, di ba? So there's something about their lighting or at least aesthetic or yung color palette ng production design. There's something about Koreans eh, no?
Yeah, there is. The cost of production in Korea is
Yeah.
much cheaper in terms of lighting, equipment, like camera equipment. It's really, really like there's over like 100 equipment suppliers in
When you
Korea.
shoot there?
Yeah, when
Okay.
you shoot there. So, and their prices are like siguro mga 4 times cheaper
Okay.
than here. So
Then, why did you
Anda-
shoot here?
So what we did, kasi they're also having problems in Korea.
Okay.
Yan. There's an oversaturation of the market there.
Okay.
That's why Koreans are also looking outwards to
I
do
understand.
co-productions
I
with like
understand.
US
Yep,
or
yep.
Canada
Yep,
or
yep.
or Philippines.
Yep,
Yan.
yep,
So
tama.
ganun yung naging nangyari. And syempre having another culture there lets you tell more stories.
Right.
That could be like very interesting to the audience. So
Okay.
in
So
this-
you mentioned you were working with a Korean director, Korean cinematographer, everything, di ba?
Yeah.
So, anong role mo? What was your role in this project?
I had like many hats for this
Correct.
project. So
Mm.
I was the executive producer.
The money guy.
Yeah, I was the money guy. I was like also like the main producer.
Okay.
Yeah, and head of production for the Philippines.
The creatives guy.
Yeah. And then like yeah, I went to every single department. I checked every single thing there. I was even an extra. I had a cameo.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And they didn't cut it out naman of the film.
no,
di ba?
no,
Okay,
no.
okay.
I saw like
Yeah,
I'm
they
still
made sure
there.
that you were there. Oh,
Yeah.
correct. So, kamusta? The film is done,
Yeah, the film
and
is
then
done.
you're planning to show it when again?
Right now we're still looking at the schedules
Mm-hmm.
because like we finished the film like really like last week.
Right,
And editing,
right.
mixing. It was supposed to be initially March this year, but medyo late na siya. And it's already March.
Right.
So we're looking at maybe like middle of this year it's gonna be released.
Okay.
Barring the the Hollywood blockbusters. Syempre, we need to avoid all of those.
Of course.
So ganun lang naman yun.
Is it gonna show here or just in Korea?
Oh, it's gonna be shown everywhere.
Everywhere.
So
Okay.
even before we shot the project, we made sure that the distribution was already going to be laid out.
Right.
Because it's risky. It's like more than $1 million.
Correct.
For this project.
Man.
So
Ang sakit sa ulo ng pagiging EP mo, pare.
yeah,
Oo,
yeah.
oo.
Oo.
Sige, wag mo galatin, bro. Kakatapos mo lang shooting this film.
Yeah. So,
Any other films that you're planning to do anytime soon?
Yeah.
Are you producing anything else?
yeah, so I have I'm producing definitely two
Yep.
films this year. One is a US production naman. It's a co-production with a LA based na company.
Okay.
And that's going to star a very big local Filipino
Okay.
and with a
Which we cannot know
which
as
we
of
cannot
now.
say right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And also a very 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 big international cast.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the guy who mixes up Filipino talents with Hollywood stars.
Yeah.
So if you're a Filipino artist or a Filipino talent who wants to make it there, you're the guys that.
I might say something kind of controversial.
Okay.
Which is like the reason why like we're doing this. And kasi if you're trying to get like a more international market to come in and patronize Philippine culture per se, sure, like the Filipino stories are interesting. Sure, it's really new, it's novel to
Yep.
all of these other countries, right?
Yes.
But have you ever seen like a Filipino story make it really really big internationally?
I would say, yeah, maybe not. Although I was made aware before that some Filipino telenovelas are also airing in different countries,
Yeah.
which they also have their own following there. But a Filipino movie who really made it big outside, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
You think?
So yeah, my point being is that how is the international audience going to know like Filipino actors or Filipino stories if they don't have any chances of being shown,
Correct.
right? Internationally, like because it's just not commercially viable.
Correct.
Yeah. So my group's intention with like these international productions is, okay, we have very good Filipino actors, right? Why don't we bring them all out, get like an internationally really good story, like,
Yep.
like something written by like the WGA
Yep.
or something,
Yep.
or an award-winning like writer, and put them in there, and then have them do a fantastic performance, and then people are gonna ask, who's that person?
Tama.
And then, is he Filipino? Oh, so they make good films in the Philippines.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
then, dun papasok yung, okay, yeah, I want to see Filipino films because
Tama.
this really talented Filipino actor, who killed it in this Hollywood production, must have had like other good films.
Correct. Although I think Filipino actors already are killing it out there. There are
Yeah,
some
they are,
some talents are already winning awards and talagang malaki na sa film industry, di ba? Like, we are getting recognized. Pero, I understand it's different when you actually put a Filipino story out there and then commercially and globally, global audience would look at it and then, Philippine story. Talagang, ganyan pala yung itsura ng Philippines, di ba? So, parang there's something there also,
Yeah,
di ba?
oo.
So,
But it's baby steps. And
Yeah,
we gotta
yeah.
get them recognized
correct.
there first.
Correct.
Talaga,
Correct.
Before.
Yeah. And then, in doing so, you have to shoot all your films here.
Yes.
Tama ba? Okay.
So, that's why, for the Korean side, diba, we shot everything here.
Yeah.
And, it was the Korean cast that came over.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually told an international story,
Mm-hmm.
but set in a Filipino
Super interesting.
setting.
Super interesting.
And so, I mean, because, kidnappings happen everywhere.
Yeah.
And human trafficking, drug trading, and all that. It really happens
Correct.
everywhere. Yeah.
Mm.
But how do we tell it from a foreign point of view,
Mm-hmm.
but with a local flavor?
Right.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. The US one naman,
Mm.
he's a film in hiding. Yeah.
Here in the Philippines.
No, in
in hiding there. Yeah.
Kaya
Correct.
doon mag-shoot naman.
Tama. So I'm assuming this guy is the film. The Filipino guy, the Filipino actor will be the film.
Yeah, will be the
Okay.
film.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Teka, naguluhan ako kasi parang now you're producing, pero a couple of years ago, I know that you were photographing a lot of things.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
still do.
how I
Yeah.
actually know you as a photographer, and now you're a film producer. Balik muna tayo.
Yeah.
So, are you still doing photography, pare?
Yeah. I mean, like with the market now, it's not, and plus I'm old. Yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of younger photographers out there.
Yes.
So they're definitely getting like a chunk of the market.
Yes.
But my clients from before are still my clients now.
Right.
It's ongoing.
Mhm.
I moved studios from Makati to Pasig just last year.
Mhm.
So I've had to rebuild like a new client base, which
Yes.
is good naman, nakabawi na.
Yeah.
Pero syempre, they know me as a photographer.
Correct.
Yan talaga. So when they find out na, I'm also doing movies, I'm also doing commercials, like,
Yes.
really? Talaga? We didn't know that kasi, yung ever since 2005, I was already attached na I'm a photographer.
That's how I know you nga, di ba? Na sa photography industry
Yeah,
kita
DPP
nakilala.
days. Yeah, Digital Photographer Philippines. I was like,
Totoo.
constantly on that forums. 'Cause
Totoo.
I was doing critiques, I was doing articles.
Totoo. And that's how Canon also got you, di ba?
Yeah.
As a photographer. Pero now, they're also trying to get you into videos, tama? Like hybrid
to
shooter,
medyo
di ba?
hybrid shooting. So,
Oo, tama. Kasi ako, when Canon got me, mas video di ba? They never considered me naman to be a photographer. Although, when I started as a photographer before, Canon ang gamit ko. So talagang, Canon is really close to me personally. Pero of course, they don't know that. When they learned about me, nasa video na. Di ba? So, pero how did you start ba getting into photography? Like, is this something that you've been wanting to do ever since you were a little kid?
Actually, nung bata ako, I remember, grade 3 yun. Film pa, obviously.
Yes.
Digital na, di ba? So, I was in a field trip. I was like taking photos. Like, parang this is fun. Like, I was just using a point and shoot na film camera. And then, I showed like my mom. Like, Ma, look at the photos. Ano yan? Puro talahib.
Yeah.
Ito, puro bulaklak. Yeah. Like, so, it's like, nag-aksaya ka lang ng film. Yan. Pwede bang wag mo nang gawin yan?
Okay.
I was like, so
Interesting.
young. Yeah,
Interesting.
I was so young. Yan. Like, kasi yung...
Na-shatter ka ba nun, pare? Kasi wag mo nang gawin yan.
No, it was just like, field trip lang. What would I do?
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe it was a bad day or something. But, like, parang hindi masyado na-appreciate yung photos na tinake ko nung bata ko. So, parang I never really gave it like much thought after. It was only during, I think it was 2003. I was in law school that time. And kakalabas pa lang nung the Nokia 7650, the first camera phone. And so I had that, and I was playing with it. I remember nasa Boracay ako noon eh. So, I was taking photos. Tapos yung katabi ko nun, na good friend ko, I didn't know he was a photographer. I
Okay.
only knew that he was a lawyer that time.
Right.
But apparently, he was like one of the premier photographers for Preview magazine, like when
Okay.
it opened.
Okay.
Yeah. So, he was like, oh, you have an eye for taking photos. Like, don't waste your time with that, naman.
Right.
Like, don't waste your time with the digital.
Get a real camera.
Get a real
Yeah.
camera. So, my first camera back then was like the Pentax K1000.
Okay.
Yan. Nakuha ko pa yan sa pawn shop.
Okay.
Yan.
Okay.
Yan. So, isa siya sa mga subasta na camera.
na unit.
So, I'm like, Ma, pwede bang kunin ko lang tong camera na to. Like,
Hindi na to kukunin.
Hindi na to kukunin.
Okay lang.
Rematado na to.
Correct.
So, yun. Sige, okay. I just want to learn. And so, yan, film pa noon. Learned everything. Learned how to expose properly. And it was like 1 year of, because I didn't know how to light.
Right.
Yeah, so it was like 1 year of just taking all natural light portraits
of course.
or landscapes or still life. I would just take photos of anything.
Rule of thirds mo lang yun.
Yeah,
diba?
ganun lang. Yeah, like all the basic. And then wala pa kasing masyadong internet na nun. So I like the information that I would get was all from
books.
magazines. Books and magazines. So I have a pretty good collection of photography books. Yan. And then mahal na kasi magpa-develop.
Right.
Yeah.
Back then.
Oh, so how am I going to support this damn hobby of mine?
Yes.
So, I graduated from my MBA during that time when I learned how to take photos. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use my masters to
fund
make
your
this
hobby.
like a real business.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you masters in business?
Yeah, business administration.
Okay.
So nag-graduate ako na ng 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Yan. Tapos, I put up my studio 2005. So that's when I start na, okay, I'm a professional photographer.
So when you started your own studio, parang you were still sort of transitioning from a hobbyist. You'll claim na, I'll put up a studio.
Yeah.
Tatalonin ko to.
Yeah.
Without even a body of clients yet.
That time kasi, because I was still a hobbyist, I was fortunate enough to know someone who owned a modeling agency.
Okay.
Yan. So, nabarkado ko siya. Sige, I'll charge very cheap lang.
Yeah.
Kasi film pa talaga.
Yes.
I'll charge very cheap lang. You guys pay for the processing.
Right.
And then, I can be the one to take all of the headshots and like a portfolio. And I can practice too.
Yep.
Yan. So, that was my first regular client.
Okay. At least you get to pay the bills, everything, di ba?
Yeah. Pero pahirapan ako nun kasi like my first year, dude, like I had to take like other jobs.
I can imagine, oo, pare.
Like I became a club promoter.
No way, talaga? Okay.
Just to like make ends meet.
Yeah.
Kasi
So,
I didn't wanna ask.
So, curious ako, pare. Kasi parang, obviously, kasi galing kang law school and then MBA ka. It feels like your journey would sort of be aligned with the corporate world or, you know, nandun sa side na yun, di ba?
Yeah.
Is that something that you really wanted to do before discovering photography? Or, ano ba nangyari? Ano ba nauna?
Well, nauna talaga yung all the other stuff.
Yes.
Like, the family wanted me to, my mom wanted me to become a lawyer. Yun. Even
Obviously,
though I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
I really wanted to.
Yun lang naman yun doktor, lawyer, architect,
I know
engineer.
I would have been an amazing doctor and my life would be like so much more quiet. But
we're here.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah. So I actually got into med school.
Okay.
I didn't enroll.
Right.
And then I got into law school. Yun. I had no choice. In-enroll ako.
Yeah,
Yan.
butcha.
So,
Okay.
at saka nung bumagsak, at saka ko, like, shit, like, I feel like, damn, I feel like such a failure.
Okay.
So, I gotta do something because I can't just be an undergrad.
Right.
So, that's when I took, like, the whole MBA thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And sinabi ko na, okay, I made, like, my entire thesis was about the family business.
Okay.
And then, like, it wasn't used.
Okay.
So, I'm like, hey, what am I doing this for?
Oo nga,
Right?
diba?
So parang, okay, di talagang I'll just apply myself na lang everything that I learned into like, putting up a
Your own
studio.
venture,
Like a creative business. it's very different from what you learn in MBA because
Yes.
it's all like numbers and like
Yes.
processes and like structure, like corporate structure, which is very different from like what a studio would be because you have different revenue streams.
Correct.
Right.
Pero kasi pare, I think yung having a business knowledge is something that you need to run an actual business. Kahit na creatives business siya, di ba? Kasi some people think na, oh, you're a photographer, you can run a photography studio. Ah, you're a filmmaker,
No,
you
not
can
all.
run a production house. Hindi. Kasi pag,
Hindi.
pag individual ka lang, okay lang. But if you're running an actual business, you need business acumen already, di ba? So I think that's something na your advantage is also. Kasi
It
you know how to
definitely
run.
shaped like my career path.
For sure.
Like which is why I'm doing all of these things now. Na it is still a creative business, but it's like I'm also handling like the business end of
exactly.
that
You don't
creative
need
business.
I mean, you can hire a person to do that, but at least you know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Di ba? Hindi ka blindsided suddenly, may ganito, di ba? So ngayon, I'm curious, your mom wanted you to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then the father side, I'm assuming...
Well, my dad, like, during that time kasi, like, I wasn't really getting along with my dad.
Okay.
And it's only recently that we're okay.
Okay.
The expectation is always to follow in, like, the footsteps of the family.
Yeah.
Like, run the business.
Yep.
Or, go into, like, public service.
Correct.
Yan, which is what everyone is doing now.
All your cousins,
like my
brothers.
cousin is doing it now. My dad, my uncle, my tita.
Yeah.
Yan. They're all doing it now. Yan. Ako lang yung parang
Wala, ikaw yung kabila.
I'm struggling to like, detach myself from
yeah.
that. I don't know if in 3 years I'm going to be going down that road again. But until that time, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Correct. So is it safe to say na parang they're not really excited about what you're doing now?
Oh, not at all.
So
yeah. But syempre nung may mga achievements na, especially like, it's a huge achievement to even get like an international production off the ground.
Oh.
So parang okay, may acknowledgement.
Yeah, may konting tap on the back, pero medyo
my mom was always like very very supportive.
Okay. Pero during the beginning, kasi nagtayo ka ng photography studio mo 2004, 1 year
2005.
2005, 1 year into the hobby, you put up your own photography studio. What was their reaction?
Well, kikita ka ba dyan?
Yeah, diba? Correct.
Yun ang reaction. Kikita ka ba dyan? Ang mangyayari, that meme, like, what expectation versus reality. What people think what they're doing.
Correct.
So, like, in their head, like, parang a photographer is someone who's in an event, taking photos of like, everyone.
Because that's what they know eh.
Yeah, sinusut-sut ng tao.
Correct.
Hindi ka namin drinase para sutsutin.
Tama. Ganun nga yun. Diba?
Yan.
Sa mga cruise ship, kasi I'm sure you guys go on cruise, di ba? And then, so paano, like, did it ever, obviously it didn't, pero how did you feel? Like, na parang hindi supported parents mo?
It fired me up, man.
Okay.
I'm like the type of person kasi who doesn't like to be proven wrong.
Okay.
Yan. So maybe it's a character flaw or what.
Yeah.
But I always like to prove that I'm damn right.
Okay.
Yan.
Or at least you can make it, diba?
Yeah, or I can do it, or I've tried it, I can say that I've done it, and I can say na, okay, it sucks.
Right.
Yan.
At least you tried it. You did it.
So, ganun ako. Like, I never really shy away from like a challenge. Simply because I feel like I'm able to tackle it.
Okay.
I think it's a mindset thing.
Yep.
And not a lot of people like have that confidence in their abilities to do so.
You're right. Especially for creative. Sometimes, self-doubt would always cripple in, and then, yung parang confidence in what you're doing, especially being a creative is very personal eh. Hindi siya parang data-driven. Na parang you encode this, you'll get this result.
Yeah.
It's a very personal journey. And
I'm very hard on myself.
Diba? Yun nga, I'm sure you're very hard on yourself, diba? So, like, sabi mo, you always tackle challenges head-on. You don't like to be proven wrong. You always want to be... Hindi naman laging always right. Pero parang you always want to parang try things, at least you know. Walang
Yeah.
what if, diba?
Yeah.
Have you ever failed?
I failed more than I succeeded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kwento
Yeah.
ka, pare.
Oh man.
Failures.
Yeah, my first really huge failure was my first movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I went into it like confident that like based on everything that I learned abroad, like ganito. But I wasn't. I wasn't able to factor in, let's say, the intangibles,
I can
or like
imagine.
culture, or
Yeah.
mafia,
Oh,
or
shit.
yeah,
Teka lang, may mafia, bro. Teka lang, ano to?
film mafia.
Wow.
Yeah,
Shit. Okay. And then, what
yeah.
what happened,
It's very
pare?
difficult for independent
I
filmmakers
can
to
imagine.
like
So, like,
yeah.
you kind of brushed off some people the wrong way? Is that what happened?
It's more like I had no idea that like I almost said it, that this certain film festival was not going to protect like the participants, because like I
Okay.
was a victim. Like like the first film that we did was parang the first day last day.
Okay.
Yan.
Okay.
So are you familiar with the term first day last day?
No, pare.
So on the first day, like we had like 44 screens.
Yep. Then last day
And then
na.
that was the last day we had the 44 screens. Because like the
Oh,
next day we only had 12.
okay.
And then the
Okay.
next day we only had 8.
So what happened?
Yan. So I don't know if it's still the same right now, but back then, if your film doesn't is not commercially viable by the end of the first day,
Yeah.
the cinemas and the exhibitors have a right to take out your film and change it with something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you weren't protected in such a way that that was not declared sa
We
simula.
had no idea that was gonna happen. Because we
Okay.
thought that the entire duration of
Of the film
the film
festival.
festival was 2 weeks. So we
Yeah.
thought that our whole team, like, it was gonna be there for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but it wasn't.
Okay.
So there
Okay.
was a congressional inquiry,
Yeah.
like, oh, why is this person
Ako, I
controlling
think meron pa rin
everything?
ganyan. Kasi some of my friends, they have their entries in this specific film festivals. And sometimes, I would see them post about not having enough screen time or not having enough cinemas showing their
Yeah.
films. Kahit na maganda talaga yung mga reviews and all of that. So, ako, I'm not sure. Kasi, obviously, I'm not in part of that world. But I can only see naman comments and posts of our friends, diba? So, I don't know how it works, pero sayang na
Sayang
nangyari
talaga.
yun.
Yeah,
Oo.
because that year we won like 7 awards.
Talaga?
Yeah,
Tapos,
best cinematography, best editing,
Yeah.
best production design.
kala mo, ito na yun.
Yeah. But if
then,
you ask me, like,
first day, last
did
day.
it make money in the box office? No.
No, yeah. Oo.
So that was a really expensive lesson. Actually, that time, because I was hurt so bad, na I thought, this is gonna be the last film I'm doing. Yeah. But 7 years after, yeah.
Did it take you 7 years to recover? Or parang it just took you 7 years to find the right material to produce again?
It took me 7 years to open myself up to the idea that,
Of producing again?
yeah,
Okay,
simply
okay.
because it's parang mas kampante ko dun sa mga Korean that they won't screw me
Okay.
over.
Okay. I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
May ganon.
Yeah, may
Okay.
ganung factor. Kaya inayos ko muna nga yung distribution.
Yeah. Tama, di ba? Parang, that's a big lesson that you learned kasi, di ba? From the get-go, parang, ganun pala, like, in a specific country, di ba? Parang, sometimes, they can just remove you kung hindi commercially viable on the first day. Parang that's medyo talo nga yun.
Yeah, talo talaga.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So, ano yung mga ginawa mo, or how did you, I guess, moved around that big failure? Tipong, I'm imagining you almost stopped producing na, di ba? You
I
almost,
stopped. I
diba?
stopped producing.
So, anong
Yeah.
ginawa mo? Did you just focus on photography
I focused on
again?
the photography, because that's still it's still like the bread and butter.
Yep.
So hindi naman nauubusan ng mga photography clients, right? Yan. So, I mean, hopefully, knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Oh, for sure. Sabi nga
yeah.
nung isa naming guest, 'di ba? Basta magaling ka, hindi ka mawawalan ng kliyente. Hindi ka mawawalan ng trabaho basta magaling ka. Parang ganun. So, she always believes that.
Yeah.
So, even if she's older than us, like, she doesn't feel threatened that the younger generation will take over and all of that. Of course, she's open naman na the younger ones will always be the next generation.
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
she believes in herself so much na, So I think that's something that we can learn, di ba, na embrace. As long as we think we can provide good work naman, then people will always work with us. So,
and you can also, make your own projects.
That's true, which is also what you're doing now, di ba? And what we're all doing now, using this podcast, di ba?
Yeah.
In terms of photography, what kind of photography do you mostly do now?
Well, 90% of that is still advertising work.
Okay.
I recently started, I went back to my roots.
Which is?
Like, when I first started photography, like, the first magazine that I shot for was FHM.
Okay.
Yan. So,
parang lahat naman tayo doon nagsimula. Puro
FHM, diba? So now, I'm actually shooting for VMX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm shooting for VMX. Like, I just started actually a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Sabi naman nila, they like the work, so it's gonna be continuous.
Nandun pa rin, oh.
Yeah. And it made me realize how much I missed shooting women, like in a gravure or a was that not burlesque? What's the other word? Boudoir.
Yeah.
Boudoir
level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, but men and women treat like the subject matter differently.
Correct.
Yeah, like I can tell.
Yep.
If it's been shot by a woman or if it's been shot by a man.
Interesting.
And like it's very interesting how details that a woman would see would totally just go over the head of like
correct.
And the other way around. So it's nice. Like I'm still learning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You think especially for in that category, diba, like VMX, diba, yung mga subject, of course, they need to translate the poster into what the audience would see in the film, diba? Yeah. So you think that kind of job requires a guy's perspective versus a woman's perspective when they shoot the poster?
I would say no, because like for projects like that, what you're doing is visual communication.
Yes.
Like it's like you're making an ad.
Yes.
For the movie.
Yes.
Right. So like the workflow behind it is still the same. Like you still have your target demographic. You still have like what poses work, like what lighting and all that. So it's still the same. If you're a pro. You'll still be able to hit all of like the KPIs in your like the things that you need to shoot, right? What would differ would be siguro the aesthetic.
Taste value na yan
I think naman if a direction is given by the company or by the film studio, whether or not you're a woman or a man, it shouldn't matter. You should be able to execute it the way like the director or like the studio's vision is.
Correct. Tama.
But if you ask me na just make something, ito na yung concept, pero bahala ka na, then 100% sure with that kind of briefing, like the man and the woman photographer would have very, very different
different
outputs.
approach yan, pare. I can imagine also. Marami ba ngayong nag-photographs sa BMX now? Marami ba kayong photographers in the pool of BMX?
From what I heard, no.
Konti
Apat
lang
kami.
Okay, apat lang umiikot yung projects. Ano tingin mo yung meron si Wesley, pare, para mapunta ka do sa isa sa apat? Kasi daming photographers now and I'm sure a lot of people are also capable to check those checklists in terms of proper lighting, proper ganyan. Bakit kaya ikaw nakuha, pare?
I think that I'm very good at getting like the talents to relax.
Mm-hmm.
I can get them to open up,
Mm-hmm.
figuratively and
Yeah.
literally.
Okay.
Yeah. I think most of the photographers who shoot this content have that ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, hindi kami kukunin. What would siguro set us all apart
Mm.
is how we all light,
Yep.
um, how we all. I think it's all in technicals. How we
Mm.
differ. Siguro in terms of visual storytelling, that I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But maybe it's in the style of visual
Mm,
storytelling.
mm, mm.
And,
Tama, tama.
and
Alam
what
mo,
we do.
that's a very important point na you mentioned, no? Yung you can make the subjects very comfortable in front of you. Kasi some people think na when you're a photographer, just click and then you take a good photo. But I think 60% of the job of a photographer is to really connect with the subject and make sure that they're the most honest selves in front of your lens.
Absolutely.
'Di ba? Parang kaya ako gustong-gusto ko si Annie Leibovitz. Music photographer siya. Kasi sometimes, when she's part of the band, hindi na awkward yung banda sa kanya.
She's
Na
a fly on the wall.
Yeah, nandiyan
Yeah.
lang siya. Nandiyan si Annie. Okay lang yan. I can fight with you about songwriting and all of that. Even if Annie's there. Kasi wala nang pakialam sa kanya. Sanay na ako sa kanya, di ba?
Yeah.
So, ganun yung, I think, yung importance of making the subject be comfortable sa'yo para, in any category naman, may it be VMX or portraiture or fashion or, the societies of the people. Once the subject is very comfortable with you, you can
Yeah, it's
get their
very
most
easy.
honest version of themselves. Di ba?
Yeah.
So, you think pare yung ganong trait mo, kasi that's a skill eh. That's something that you can teach na parang, first you do small talks. Wala namang ganun di ba?
Yeah.
So is that something that you learned in life? Kaya ka ganon?
Yeah, I think it also came with like the experiences
Yes.
that I went through.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not one to shy away from a challenge, whether it's like a personal challenge or like a work challenge, right? And I think it's something that resonates with everyone has that. So normally I try to open with that.
Right.
And like, oh, so what have you been doing with like your work today? How was your day? What was it like? Yung mga una kong tanong.
Correct. Then try to connect to that,
Yeah.
diba? And relate to that.
Yan.
Para they would feel comfortable. No?
Once they find out naman that you're willing to make that or bridge that gap, since most of the people that I shoot, like I've never met before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you're trying to make that effort to connect, na-appreciate yan.
Yeah, no.
Yan. And it's automatically like, okay, they would open up more to you.
Totoo. And sometimes kasi when celebrities or, models feel that, okay, this photograph session is about me and about me as a subject, they would feel more empowered versus yung tipong, the photographer is full of himself. So parang merong konting labanan di ba sa set. So parang you have to make sure lang na, yun nga, you're not there to make pasikat na I can make you beautiful and I know what I'm doing with the latest equipment. Hindi ganun Dapat, dapat
that's terrible.
di ba?
Yeah.
Sige, para what do you think is, I guess, one of the biggest lessons you learned in your photography career that you can somewhat apply in real life?
Okay. There are things that you can retake. And there are things that you cannot retake. Right? But as long as you know what your objective is, as long as you master the steps that you need to get a goal done, you can achieve pretty much anything.
Right.
You can produce a photo, you can create like a big set, you can do an advertising campaign or even like make a movie.
Yeah.
As long as you have all of your steps all done, and you do it all properly and you don't miss anything and you pay attention to all the details.
Yep.
that's something that you can translate to your real
Real life
life
diba?
goals.
As long as you take concrete steps every day towards that goal,
Yeah.
however minimal it may be,
Correct. Yeah, like
like,
fitness,
yep,
like
yep,
it's relationships,
yep.
you know, getting along with your family, or
Yeah.
making up with like a friend.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
parang kailangan mo siyang pag-isipan talaga.
Correct.
I think you should never ever go through life like not thinking about anything and just using your feelings.
Tama.
Yeah,
Tama.
no, you gotta use your head.
Tama. Yun yung
Right?
yun yung hirap minsan kapag, especially when you're talking to artists, na parang it's all about feelings, and sometimes they forget to use their head. And, I'm not gonna say naman that they get into trouble because of that. Pero parang sometimes, you gotta be real. Kasi parang, we're living, di ba? We're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
about feelings lang all the time, di ba?
Yeah, oo. Kasi feelings are feelings, they cloud your judgment.
Yes. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're super right, pare. Oo nga. There, lagi akong biktima niyan na parang I decide on big things because of heavy emotions. Na
Yeah.
parang,
I'm a victim of that.
di ba?
too.
Parang sometimes, oh man, like sometimes nasa euphoria ako, I would decide on something because I was super happy. And then once the dust settles, parang, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Di ba?
And then,
Parang,
you know what sucks is like if you're left holding the bag.
yun nga. Oo nga, parang, tayo na. Oo nga, pare, di ba?
Yeah.
Pero, yeah, I gotta use my head more often. Pare, collaboration. How important is collaboration for you?
Oh, like this career is all about collaboration. Like every film set or every photo session, it's always a collaboration between like the photographer or the subject, or like the photographer and like the team. Whether it's like the art department or like hair and makeup or camera depth. Yeah. Everything it's a big organism. Yeah, with like a lot of moving parts. So collaboration is like the number one thing that you need in order for you to get your job done, because these projects are bigger than yourself.
Correct.
It's bigger, like a movie is bigger than like just its director.
Yes.
Or its actors.
Yes.
It's like an F1 team.
Yes.
Every
yes.
single person is important. So it's the same. Like
And
every
person has a specific role.
Yeah.
Who is good at what they do.
Yeah.
Diba?
Because you can't do everything, man.
Yes.
You know,
I
as
agree.
much as you try to do everything, I'm a control freak, honestly.
Nako.
And I try to do everything. Like I try to do my own editing sometimes. I try to do like my own cinematography or directing and producing all at the same time. Dude, you're gonna burn out.
I'm sure.
if you do that.
But speaking of editing your own stuff, a while ago you were mentioning to me you were editing a documentary.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang, kwento mo nga ano nga to?
So now I have a music documentary that I produced and directed.
Yun na. Okay.
I shot this last October. It's a music documentary about guitars and like their musicians and like the
Who
musicians,
held them? Who played them? Okay.
and like the cultural background of the Philippines during that time when they were still playing, which is
Yes.
like in the 90s. So you get a lot of OPM bands like Razorback, Wolfgang.
Yep.
And we had Sugar Hiccup.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
si Melody. And we had si... I can't say the others na pala.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Kasi ako, I have an idea on who they are, pero
Yeah.
okay, sige, let's not put that on record. So,
Yeah.
ano
no,
plano
pero
nito, bro?
okay naman yun. But what was nice about it is that it was going down the memory lane for me. Because during that time, I was, 15 and 16. And that was like the time na...
Nung peak nila yun, di ba?
Peak, yeah,
Oo.
1995. It was
Yeah.
like, from 1992 to 1997, I was like full on like... Yeah, Metallica.
Yes,
give me all the rock, grunge.
Correct.
That was my jam. So to be able to work on a project like this with my heroes from back then was amazing.
Right.
So that one was it was a fantastic thing to produce. I really enjoyed producing it and even directing it. And I was handling the camera too.
And now you're editing it also.
Yeah,
di ba?
yeah. So now since kulang kami ng budget, we're like editing it like by ourselves.
Yep,
So and it's a slow ass process.
Uh,
We shot it very fast. Like
Right.
like the client was really amazed.
Right.
Like how well we did the production. But, naubos yung budget nila for editing. So I'm like, sige, ako lang muna mag-edit
Yeah.
on my free time.
Pero projects like these naman, especially it's really close to your heart. Parang sometimes parang you also kind of wanna do it on your own. I'm sure it's better to delegate tasks. Pero ito yung mga hindi masasama sa loob na gawin kapag it's very close to your heart, di ba? Parang okay lang sige kasi trip ko talaga to di ba?
Yeah.
Parang okay naman.
Yung
Okay.
mga labor of love na it's something that maybe hindi ako kumita ng masyado dito, but I know that I was able to tell a story that I wanted to tell.
Right.
And at least it's something that made me relive my youth.
Tama. Memory lane talaga. Pare, how important are passion projects for you? Kasi ito, I can imagine this is not a full-on advertising job, di ba? This is a documentary you produced and then directed, di ba? I think we can categorize this under a passion project.
Oh, definitely.
Na may konting pondo, di ba?
Yeah.
Gano'ng importante ang paggawa ng passion projects for an artist?
You definitely need to have at least one passion project that you're working on, concurrently with all of your other stuff to pay the bills kind of jobs.
Yes.
Yeah. Because the passion projects are the ones that really define who you are.
Yes.
While like the money projects are like, it pays the bills, pays everyone's bills, feeds a family. You can still feel a lot of love for that, but I mean, it can't like.
Yeah. Correct.
I mean, how much of that can you love?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you really need something that is very close to your heart in order for you to maintain like that passion and like the drive to become a better filmmaker or a better creative.
Correct. Kasi whenever you do passion projects, you can only, you're answerable to yourself, diba?
Yeah.
And it's totally different when you do client works and advertising projects. Even filmmaking kasi, syempre, you have your executive producer to answer to or your producer to answer to, diba? And then, ganun din naman sa advertising. Kasi syempre, you have, the goal of advertising is to really sell the product and translate the film into sales, diba? And we're all aware of that, diba? We all work in that system. But when you do a passion project, that's something that's really close to your heart. And kaya nga passion project, it feeds your passion, diba?
Yeah.
And I think we all need that. So how do you, how do you try to strike that balance, especially, you don't want to keeping on doing passion projects only, diba? And of course, you need to have your paid gigs, but you also do not want to just keep on doing paid gigs also, diba? So when do you find time to do a passion project? When do you find time to,
Well, there was a time kasi na siguro mga 2 taon akong walang ginawa na passion project. This was like mga 8 years ago. And I got like super burnt out after that. I had to do like other, naggawa ako mga test shoot.
Right.
Just to like, change the monotony of advertising and commercial work. It's pag hindi mo ginawa yun, parang hindi ka rin masaya. And the reason why I got into this career, this industry, is because masaya siya.
Yes. You get to meet a lot of people. But
yeah, if you're not doing anything that makes you happy anymore, I mean, sure, the money is okay, but it doesn't, parang yung the joy that you get when you know that you did something that no one else can do.
Right.
Meanwhile, advertising work, everyone can do it. It's just that you won the bid.
Yeah. I can see what you're saying. Tama ka.
Yeah. I mean, like that's just as straight up as
yeah.
Yeah.
Tama ka. I was talking to another friend before na sometimes to be part of that, process in advertising, there's a lot of creative minds that you need to also collaborate with, diba? And that's fine. So sometimes when it reaches you, let's say the photographer or the production team, sobrang halos
Watered down.
parang execution and a little bit of treatment na lang.
Yeah.
Kasi, tama naman, kasi yung campaign of the agency has already been pre-approved
By them.
months before, ganyan-ganyan. And pag binago mo yun, mag-iiba na naman
Iba
yung,
na naman yung
di ba? So
usapan.
talagang, let's execute what they want and let's just be really, really good at it. Di ba? Ganun na siya di ba?
Yeah,
Whereas,
that's it.
di ba?
Yeah,
Whereas
that's
to, when you do your passion projects, talagang,
the artistry is there.
paglaruan ko to, ito yung gusto ko, ganyan, di ba? So, that's what keeps you sane, di ba? And blessed are those who really do paid projects. At the same time, it's a passion project for them. I can imagine, di ba?
Yeah.
Parang,
That's what I feel about filmmaking.
yan. So, pare, what do you think? In the next couple of years, are you still going to be a photographer or you're really gonna
naman.
transition into...
It's still gonna be both. It's still gonna be both. I think I will be doing a lot more filmmaking stuff. Kasi hindi ko din na-mention kanina na na I'm also putting up a production house in Canada.
Okay.
And to bring Filipino projects over there too. And my son lives in Canada.
Okay,
so that's
okay.
why it's my thing.
Yeah. At least you have more reasons to be there. Oh.
Yeah. And pag pag natawid na namin yun, which is going to be this year, it's really going to be a lot more films. So,
nga.
Tuloy-tuloy.
Oo nga.
I still shoot naman the like stills.
Yes.
So, but it's really, the volume is really not as much as it used to be.
Right.
Like, it's not like 3 shoots a day anymore.
Yeah. 3 different clients, you mean, di ba?
Yeah,
Talagang...
three clients in a day.
Hanep yan.
And that was like tuloy-tuloy. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have siguro mga one big one a week or like two per month.
Yeah.
Swerte na yun.
So, like, now, most of our energy is really being shifted to how to produce a film. Kasi parang mahirap yun, Hindi siya yung parang, sige, gawa tayong film, tara next week. Hindi ganun yun, di ba?
No, it's months.
Parang I talked to si Dan Villarica, si Tonet, sa Project 8 Films, di ba? Yung group nila na yun. Parang medyo high stress levels and they're just lucky that they love filmmaking and now producing films and talagang swerte nila na yun yung gusto nilang gawin. Pero kung hindi yun ang gusto mong gawin, it's not for the faint-hearted, pare.
It's not. Like, and even getting financing from private equity.
Correct.
They're always asking, sigurado ba yan? Guaranteed ba yan
Yun
yung
nga
15% on top mo? Like, like, how can I guarantee that?
Yeah, correct.
But what I can do is to de-risk the project so that, you're most probably going to get your 15% on top plus your extra.
Correct. Tama.
So,
Diyan na pumapasok yung MBA mo, pare.
Yeah.
Diyan na pumapasok.
At saka yung psychology background.
May ganun
Kailangan
pa.
ko maging psychologist.
May ganun pa. Okay. Pare, so ano ba? So what's next? What's next for Wesley? What's when we subscribe to your IG stories, what are we gonna see the next couple of years?
Next couple of years, definitely more international films. Definitely more portraits.
Cool.
I still do. I love doing portraiture. And definitely a lot more boudoir.
Okay. So you're gonna go back to that category.
Yeah, I'm still
talaga.
shooting that. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also like there are also offers to create like films with them.
Okay.
And, there are so many stories that can be told.
Right.
It's just that, whether or not I'm going to take that plunge is a big question mark.
Yun nga. I remember getting like an offer also to do it. Pero parang I'm not sure if that's something that I can accommodate. Not in terms of anything, but maybe schedule. Also, I'm trying to be busy in advertising also. And when I do a film, that will consume a lot of headspace.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different animal.
Yeah.
So medyo, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. Pero yeah, I agree with you. There's so much stories available in that category or in that platform. Siguro, kayo na muna yun, bro. Kayo na muna yun.
natin.
Kayo na muna yun. So, pare, anong pwede mong sabihin, let's say, to your grade 4 field trip guy who once held a camera,
Yeah.
who took photographs during your field trip, at sinabi ng mom na, wag mo nang gagawin yan. Today, if you're,
Today?
you're looking at him now.
Well, I would tell me na it's okay, like, if hindi ma-appreciate yung work mo ngayon, kasi someday, a lot of people are gonna like your photos. So, remember to treat people well.
Yan.
Yan. Make friends.
Yep.
Be interested in people's lives. Not na maging chismoso ka, ha?
Yep.
But to understand like people's stories.
Yeah.
Because that's how you also develop empathy.
Correct. That's very important. And in this world that we're evolving in, connecting to people is very important.
Yeah,
and we can always detect fake connections.
Yeah,
diba?
yeah.
So, we don't need to be real good friends with everyone, but at least we can be nice people and have genuine connections, at least in that moment, diba?
Kasi I mentioned empathy because it's a quality that not a lot of people have.
Yep.
But it's a very important skill. I don't even know if it's a skill or it's a quality that a director or a filmmaker or a photographer should have, because that's the best way for you to be able to connect to your either your audience, your actors, or like even like the crew that you have.
Yes. Oh, sabi nga nila parang to get into this industry, you have to be good in terms of skill and talent, but to last versus the others, you have to be really nice.
Yeah.
Diba?
People gotta like you.
Oo ganun So yun. Kailan tayo mag-golf?
Anytime, man. Basta weekend.
Weekend. So weekdays, medyo negative ka sa golf.
Ito
super
nga,
busy.
yung kanina nga, medyo ano lang yun. Parang sige, buti may free time.
Tournament,
Oo.
Kumusta ba handicap mo, brother?
Wala.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Wala, sinabi mo yung score mo sa akin eh. Sabi mo, super bad na score na, pero pare,
it
on a
was
good day,
terrible.
that's gonna be my score already. Sobrang sama ng palo ko. Pero, I'm trying to learn, trying to be
Ano naman
good.
dyan kasi maganda yung foundation ko.
Okay.
So, ito yan, another thing, na as long as you develop like your foundations first, like you do your homework,
Right.
and you practice your skill, kahit na 15 years down the line, it's still gonna be there. It's still gonna be useful.
Kasi tama yung pundasyon di ba? Tama ka.
Yeah. So as long as you learn how to use your camera properly,
Right.
or like you study on how to direct or how to shoot or what, and you actually practice.
Yep. Kaya we stick with Canon
Of course.
Pare, maraming salamat. Thank you
Thanks,
for
brother.
making time, brother. Salamat.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you were able to learn something from this episode. Do not forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on our social media pages. There are so much more episodes to watch out for, so see you on the next one. Let's go.